This is the iGP Sport BSE 100S. It's a budget GPS cycle computer and I've been using it as my primary bike computer for a month. For the price, I think it does a pretty bang up job and is good value for money, especially if you're looking for your first head unit. For disclosure, iGP Sport sent me this device along with a bunch of sensors and I get to keep this bundle for myself. Before we dive into the review, I want you to know exactly what this device is capable of and where it stands in relation to the massive range of bike computers that are available today. At the start of our spectrum, you have simple devices with primitive sensors that will measure your speed and distance as you ride, and this data is displayed live on the device and it typically won't sync with Strava or any other app. The next set of devices are similar, but they can handle additional sensors that will measure cadence, heart rate, and even power sometimes, but still live display only. Then you have interesting devices that will also record your route, but they don't have inbuilt GPS support. They get this data only if you pair them with your phone. Now we come to our device, the BSE 100S. It has an inbuilt GPS unit, so it can record your route by itself, and it uses more advanced speed and cadence sensors that are easy to install and give you accurate data without you having to futz around with magnets and alignment issues that plague entry-level computers. You can also connect a heart rate monitor to it, as well as a power meter. Rides recorded can also be synced with Strava. Beyond this, devices have large color touch screens that can display maps and support navigation. Some have Strava live segment integration, climb stats, live performance analysis, and training support. Of course, most of them cost a lot more than this device. So now that you know where this device slots in, let's briefly go over the installation and setup process. You can use the head unit without any sensors and it will still record your ride and give you speed information via GPS. However, if you're looking for more accurate speed data, you've got to use a speed sensor which you can install on your hub. Cadence, or the number of times you pedal in a minute, is really useful for training, but you can get this data only with a sensor which you can mount on the non-drive side crank arm. They also sell a heart rate monitor. This you need to strap around your chest. Look at the manual for details on how you can pair these sensors with the device. Next up, you can install the app, create an account, connect it with Strava, and most importantly, follow the instructions to pair it with your head unit. The last thing you want to do is customize the pages on the device. I'm going to optimize the pages based on the sensors we have, so choose HRM and Cadence from the list of recommended pages. You can fine-tune these pages as well, changing what is displayed for each of these fields. Alright, let's move on to actually using the device and the review. The computer takes just a couple of seconds to turn on, and you can click the play button to start recording your ride. But if you forget to hit play, it'll auto start the recording itself. Now the device can display 4 pages. The first page shows you live values, speed, distance, cadence, heart rate, and elevation. The next page adds on recording time, a gradient estimate, and the total ascent. Page 3 shows you averages of page 1 stats, and page 4 maximum values for your ride. Notice the gauge at the top. The faster you go, the more segments get filled in. I think this is a rather fun feature, giving you a somewhat real speedometer display. The device has a backlight that turns on automatically when required, and the screen remains highly visible in bright sunlight and in pitch darkness. I'm pretty happy with the size of the screen as well, and the clarity. All 5 fields of data are clearly visible from normal rider height. Only the field headings are a tad small, but that's not a big deal after a few rides when you're familiar with the pages. Double click the play button to start a new lap. When you do, it'll display stats from the lap you just ended, distance, time, and average speed for a few seconds before switching to the regular display. Now I'd like to see live lap specific data for my current lap, average speed, lap distance, and time, but currently there's no way to see this. If you stop and start riding, the device will automatically pause and resume your ride, and of course you can do this manually too. To end the ride, long press the right button and it'll save your ride to the device. If you open the iGP Sport app, it'll now connect to the device, sync the ride, and upload it to Strava. Let's take a look at the ride data on the app. I'm going to choose this ride where I rode up a hill in Goa. I love the modern design of the pages as well as the way in which the data is presented. We can get into the Laps tab with detailed lap data, and then the Statistics tab where you have graphs for speed, heart rate, cadence, altitude, and even temperature. If we expand the Cadence tab, you can see from 18 kilometers to 24 kilometers, the cadence was 0. I thought my sensor had malfunctioned, but then I realized that this was because I was descending and I wasn't actually pedaling. You can also see the speed and heart rate and cadence zones and you can customize the limits of each of these zones in the app settings. Let's examine the exported GPX track as I ride up this hill. Now this is an area that could pose some small challenge to the GPS unit. There are a lot of trees and of course a lot of rock. However, you can see that the recorded track closely follows the actual road. So that's something I'm really happy with. I'm putting this down to the fact that this unit is capable of connecting to 5 different GPS satellite systems. If we move on to elevation, this is a segment I defined from this data. Look at the smooth elevation graph. When elevation data is bad, it tends to look like this. So let's tie a bow around this review. The screen is highly visible, the stats appear to be accurate, and most importantly, the GPS data, including elevation, is really on point. My only miss on the data front is that there's no live lap data display. I love the fact that it starts in just a couple of seconds, all sensors pair quickly, and you don't have to wait long before you're able to ride. While riding, the buttons are fairly easy to use, but you will probably have to refer to the manual when you're trying to set up stuff. It uses USB-C to charge, and it charges from 0 to 100 in just under an hour. On to battery life, I used it until it died, and man, it took a lot of rides to make that happen. On a single charge with 3 sensors connected, perhaps a couple of hours of backlight use, it lasted 26 hours. It lasted for 6 hours in its blinking low charge state. If you connect fewer sensors, it'll last longer still. So I find battery life to be quite impressive. I wish you could see an actual percentage of the battery life left, either on the device or on the app. By the way, if it runs out of charge during your ride, it will recover your ride when you next turn it on. So, should you buy this device? If you ride just a few times a week and your rides are say under a couple of hours long, a phone paired with some sensors, I made a video about this, really may be all you need. Now, if you start going on longer rides or ride almost every day, it's probably time to upgrade to a bike computer. Why? Because keeping the screen on all the time to see your stats and the constant GPS tracking will drain your phone battery in no time. It will most likely not track the route as accurately, it's not as robust or water resistant as a cycle computer, and it's expensive to replace in the event of a crash. The BSC 100S solves all these problems, and at 6,600 rupees or $40, it's hard to find another computer that provides better value. The device comes with a simple mount that you can strap onto your handlebar or stem, but you'd have to pay more for an out-front mount. I would recommend getting at least a cadence sensor with the unit, costs about 2,200 rupees, and the speed sensor is the same price too. The heart rate monitor will cost you about 3,000 rupees. If you already have Ant Plus or Bluetooth sensors, they will work with this device, and conversely, these sensors will work with other bike computers too. I would be remiss if I do not mention other computers at this price point. There's the XOSS G Plus. It's about 10% cheaper, but it has a significantly smaller screen. There's also the Magene C406 Pro. This device has basic navigation as well. It's about $1,000 more here in India, but twice as expensive in the US. Now, if you want beautiful maps, live training, climb stats, Strava live segment integration, then obviously this is not the device for you. You'd need to look at devices like the Garmin 530 or a Wahoo Element Bolt. IGP Sport makes an IGS 630, which has a lot of these features, and if there's enough interest, I'll try to review that too. Now, I suggest you watch this video on bike maintenance so you can actually ride your bike without issues for hours on end.